and that's just people seeing the potential. Like I said, a lot of people look at you and try to determine because where you come from or your situations or where you live. But that's those old cats. That's the model that we came from, to watch out for our youth and our inspiring.
Do you think Lonzo kind of did that for you guys to a certain degree?
Well, Lonzo really didn't. Well, as far as as recognizing talent,
yeah.
And yeah, he felt like I can't fuck with y'all, but then here's a dude who can fuck with y'all because at the time, it was coming out of his era of music, what they were doing. At first, he probably hated that shit, like it portrays. Not hated it, but we have been successful with what's right here. And a lot of people like to use the term, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. So that's the way he probably was looking at his success and his career. We've been quite successful on what we've been doing.
Yeah.
So, but at the time, the music was changing. You get me? The brothers from New York was coming out, and we was hearing that. And once Easy came out, then like you said, we had dudes like Spade and Toddy T who were already giving us tales from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
A lot of they shit was underground. That's just how shit was. You know what I'm saying?
Going back to let's I hate to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Unknown. What happened with Unknown, man? I heard something happened with him up at Death Row. And somebody put hands on him, right?
Unknown.
I heard that story, man.
What happened? I've heard different versions over the years.
This is the story that I know.
All right.
We were working on. We had just came off for a Straight Checking Them record. And Dre had just left Easy, got with Suge, whatever. So we basically sat down one night, me, Unknown, Slip, and my nigga Chill. And Unknown told us that Dre was finna start a new label. And they were looking for a name for the label. Long story short, they came up with the Death Row name. We basically came up with the name. Me, Unknown, Chill, and Slip.
Came up with Death Row?
Yes.
Okay.
They called it DEF first.
Okay.
And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, Unknown took it to Suge and sold it to Suge, the name, whatever. But that's how he got in with Suge and them.
Okay.
Because Suge knew that he, so-called, was producing our records, Compton's Most Wanted.
Okay.
And I think we were on our third album. So they enlisted Unknown to do production work for the Convicts were supposed to be the first group that came out.
Big Mike and Lord 3-2.
Okay. Was that Malik and those guys?
No, that's
your youngsters.
3-2 and Big Mike
Houston,
from Texas. From Houston.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They
Rap
were
a
a
lot.
group called
Yeah.
the Convicts.
Oh, that's right.
Rap-A-Lot.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be the first group on Death Row. Because I don't even think they had Snoop yet.
Oh, wow.
Well, that record was Big Mike's record. The one, the Break 'Em Off something.
The deep cover record.
Yeah.
So, because Unknown got in with him, he took some money from them to do beats. Suge was expecting the beats. Unknown was using, from what I hear, every time they asked for the music, he was like, well, I'm busy right now working on Compton's Most Wanted record. That didn't fly too good with Suge, especially when I done gave you money to turn in beats. So I heard he was up there one day. They questioned him about the beats. He didn't have them, so they took off on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he came to the studio with us about 3 days later, and we couldn't figure out why he had sunglasses on in a dark ass studio.
Oh wow!
Like, why you got sunglasses on? And that's around the time when I stopped fucking with him because I had found out that he basically stole publishing money.
Yeah, because
I wrote all my songs. I never had a ghostwriter. I never had, so half of that publishing was mine. I wrote every fucking CMW song, every MC Eiht song. Never had a ghostwriter. Never had any help. So
did you co-produce some of the records? Say, hey, this sample might work.
Well, I would always bring music to him.
Okay, that's
You get me?
co-producing. That's
I
co-producing.
would go like, hey, let's use this record. Let's use this record. Sample this record.
Right.
Sample this record. I started doing that around the second Straight Checking Them record.
Yeah.
I was interested in producing. So, but yeah, once I found out he stole publishing money, and that was kind of the end of it from there.
Wow.
You know, I'm a young kid from Compton. You know, I didn't know no better. Like, if you could have asked me back then, I would have been like, "What the fuck is publishing?"
I want to go back. I'm sorry to cut you off, man.
I'm like, what the fuck is publishing?
Yeah, I want to go back to this because we touched on it, but we didn't. I want to talk about this reparations.
Yeah.
If you look at the impact that slavery had on us as a people, it's still lasting up to this day. You know, I was talking to my dad. My dad is 79 years old. He was just out here with me.
Oh, cool.
Shout out to Butch. But we were talking, and you know, he had a father who had a whole nother family in Tennessee. That was just a dynamic back then. It was just like he was just rolling around the South sowing his seed. And my dad was telling me, you know, 'cause this, as your parents get older, it's important to ask, you know, uncles and aunties, hey, where is it that we from?
Yeah.
So I got my family is from Memphis. My grandmother was from there and my grandfather was from there. But apparently my grandfather had a whole nother family down there and had another family in Arkansas too.
Oh, wow.
So he would disappear sometimes from my grandmother and them who had 10 kids with him. He would disappear sometimes for a whole year and go over here, you know, play house or whatever like that. And that happened all the way till he got older. I ain't gonna disrespect him. It's just the truth, right?
Right.
I think all of that stuff, man, that's like a stud almost.
Yeah.
He gets around there sowing his seed. I think all of that stuff got embedded into our DNA somehow, man. We suffered a lot because of that shit, man. We suffered a whole lot, man. And I feel like everybody else kind of gets taken care of. Like, you know, if you and I don't want to say you can't say shit nowadays without getting in trouble.
Exactly.
But if you come from another country, you can come over here and get all kind of help to open up a business and all that stuff. But no one has said, and the thing I hate hearing, well, that was so long ago, why are you still so worried about it? It's like, you bullshit, it wasn't your generations, your people wiped out. We don't even know where the fuck we come from. What the fuck is black?
Yeah, but they say they give red natives, they give them reparations, they give them big money, casinos, tax-free status, and that happened long ago. They try to play the long ago game with us. It wasn't that long ago, man. My grandmother was alive when Harriet Tubman was alive. So, you know, we had people who were former slaves still alive in the 1960s, man.
See, you come from the same kind of background I come from because my grandmother had told me that her mom was just fresh out of slavery. And then in the antebellum South, a lot of that shit was still going on up into the motherfucking 40s.
I mean, they still got plantations down
Yeah,
there.
it was a lot of slavery was
attractions.
still going. There was a lot of people who just were afraid to leave master's proverbial house that were still down there working for free.
And then after slavery, they had the sharecropping thing, which was another form of slavery because they were working for peanuts. So that legacy is still there, and we've never been compensated for that. And we got to stand on it and demand the compensation. People thought we weren't going to get out of slavery. When we said, hey, we need to get rid of this slavery thing, people said that's impossible. We did it. We actually fought to get out of slavery. That was something on a grassroots level. Black people were fighting. You had Maroons living in the swamp that were attacking plantations. Before the Civil War, you had the Seminole War, which was a black war down in Florida, where they essentially wiped out most of the plantations down there. They don't tell you about this. The U.S. Army was down there trying to suppress the black people. They ended up sending a lot of black people to Oklahoma. We were fighting our way out of slavery. In the 1960s, when people were saying, y'all ain't gonna get no civil rights, we fought and got civil rights. Whatever we focus on, we can get. So we'll get reparations. We just got to stay focused on it.
But just think about the absence of the black father in the home. It's almost like we're programmed because they come and tell a woman, hey, for every child you have, you're going to get $300-400. So you have a woman go out and have a church full of kids. They're going to move her in an apartment that's really not that bad, right? She's going to pay $50 a month. But guess what one of the main things is? You can't have a guy in here with you. You can't have a man in here with you. If you get a man here, you lose all this. So now you got women of the mindset, well, I don't even need a dude.
And the media was a big part of that too in the 60s. When they were getting black men out of the house with these little Section 8 welfare programs, they started putting on television shows with single black women, making that seem like it was cool. They had Diane Carroll do a show called Julia. She's a very beautiful black woman who was a single mother. That was new. They had a movie called Claudine, same thing, early 70s. Good Times was supposed to be Florida Evans being a single mother.
That was the antithesis.
Yeah, right. She said, no, I don't want to be a single mother. She went to the producers and said, no, give me a husband.
And James Evans was strong, and you saw what they eventually
did
killed
with
him. They killed him off.
Right. They didn't want that image. That James Evans, that image still resonates with us, man. That was America's black dad. But they had to kill that image off and kill him off, and that messed with the psyche of a lot of us, man. So that propaganda is real.
Yeah, before we go, man, I just want to say something about being a father, right?
Yeah.
I love my biological dad, man. I love my dad to death. And I was angry at him for a long time until I started getting the understanding and talked to him about how he came up.
Yeah.
He had no blueprint.
Right.
He had no bluprint. He was a dude that was suffering from his own wounds.
They didn't know.
You know, his brothers and sisters getting separated and shuffled across homes, different homes. That's what they would do if the mama didn't have enough money to take care of the kids. They would just put you in foster care.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
They would just put you in foster care. So I had to forgive him because we got a lot of healing to do as black men in this country, man. I think we all suffer from some form of PTSD.
Yeah. And nobody's suffered from what we've suffered from, man. And we're told to get over it. Other groups, man, they couldn't suffer the half of what we suffered, the stuff that we've survived, man. Growing up in these neighborhoods, growing up in the Comptons and places like that, these were like war zones, and that was by design, man. And for cats to come out of that.
Slavery.
Yeah, man. That was a societal plantation that they've created. They created those things. They created the economic deprivation and then say, okay, here you go. And by the way, here's some crack. So y'all fight over that. And here's a train full of guns that we're going to leave over here mysteriously, which is what they used to do all the time.
Oh, yeah.
These illegal guns would just pop up in these neighborhoods. So, yeah, a lot of the stuff was orchestrated. And for anybody to come out of that with your right mind, that's a miracle right there.
Well, we have to start, man. That change starts with us, man, as directors. And because me and Eiht, we working on some stuff right now, man. And I felt him when he said, man, if we go do something, I don't want to play the stereotypical dude. You know, I'm a grown man. I don't want to run around with a pistol. So we go have him where he's a football coach.
Yeah.
Doing good because they never show those images on TV, the brothers that do come out of jail, and because, we both coach youth football, right? And hell, half my staff over in Paramount, man, was former felons, and they was out there with their kids, man. Shout out to what Snoop do with the SYFL.
You have to change the dynamic of what was done, like you said, with your father. A lot of us grew up single moms, you get me? And like you said, the dynamic of what the situations was, we never knew because we don't know the past of what our fathers and grandfathers went through. To be able to have that direction to be better. But you can break that code, you get me? Look at your sons. Look at my son, you get me? It'd probably be looked at as if our kids were probably following that negative footsteps because of what we've done. What people look at what I've done, you get me? Where I come from, gang banging and selling drugs, and even with the image of who I was.
And now he got a son that's playing college football. How dope is that, man?
So
that's amazing.
That's amazing.
Just like you said, you have to change the dynamic, and of what they tried to put us through, as far as taking the dads out of the homes and making women feel like you said, still, I don't even need a motherfucker today. You get me?